morning, guys. I'm here to tell you about a great new premium offering we have from our bets guy, Keg. He has been crushing it so much with his live betting streams that we decided to spin off his KegCast into a premium feature. Last weekend, the KegCast live betting show package crushed. Keg practically ran the table on Saturday's UFC card, and the boys came right back on Sunday with NASCAR winners from both Keg and Coop. But it was Coop getting the first 20-1 winner of the year for the live show. With 10 laps to go, the boys had the top 4 cars in the race, with all of them having odds of 11-1 or better. It doesn't get any better than that. Subscribe today for just $10 a week and gain access to all of Keg's live betting streams covering tons of sports, including the NFL playoffs, MMA betting every week, PGA, March Madness, the NBA, and NASCAR. Last season, Keg and the crew crushed in NASCAR with cashes in over 30 races for well over 130 units of live profit.
Come on, Bobby, baby! Let's go!
Let's go!
Learn how to live bet and tail Keg and his crew with this amazing subscription offering. Also included is access into an exclusive Discord channel reserved for Keg's subscribers. Last reminder that it's only $10 a week, so get on board today with Keg and keep running pure.
All right, what's going on, boys? It's Keg from the bet side, joined with Coop and Matty Ice. We're talking this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series race, the RUOFF Mortgage 500 at Phoenix Raceway. What's going on, boys?
Not a whole lot, Keggers. Beautiful Sunday morning up here. Looks like a pretty fun slate today. Break it down with you, boys. It should be fun.
Coop, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, not much, man. Nice to see you awake on this early Sunday morning, man. I'm sure you got plenty of snooze last night.
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for you. I didn't realize that the clocks got moved forward. I would have showed up at the end of the show today, raring to go, and it would have been over. So I'm here because of you. So, all right, so let's get into it. We're at Phoenix Raceway. We'll break it down from a DFS perspective. We'll break it down from a bets perspective. Obviously, like and subscribe to this channel and this video. Don't ask for much. Get great content here. Best DFS team in the business, in my opinion. BetSide does pretty well. So, you know, like
pretty well, eh? Just pretty well.
Yeah, BetSide. We made a baker's dozen last night on the live show, 13 units. But all right, so I guess how you guys do this is you break it off into top tier, mid tier, bottom tier, right? So we're at Phoenix Raceway. It's a flat track. It's one of 7 or 8 tracks that are flat. It's one of only like 3 or 4. We got 1 mile at Phoenix today. Loudon in New Hampshire is a 1 mile flat track. Kentucky's about 1.33 miles, but it's a flat track. And then we have Richmond, which is about 3/4 mile track, right? So we know who usually runs well at flat tracks. And I think, unlike Loudon, would you guys agree that that's a one groove track? I think it's going to be slightly easier to pass cars here. If you have the best car like yesterday with Noah Gragson, you're going to get to the front. But I expect less cautions today. Coop said that he did too. So just overall thoughts on Phoenix, Matty. Coop.
I mean, I think as we saw yesterday, there's multiple grooves. You know, we had this. You know, you can go down on the apron all over the place. We saw 2-3 wide racing. NASCAR did lay the resin down as well too. So something that I kind of thought was interesting in the beginning of that race is it seemed like the leaders kept taking the high lane to start that race, and all the guys who were taking the bottom kept taking the lead. It's going to be an interesting race. I think it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be some passing. I'm like UK. I don't think we're going to see 6, 7, 8 cautions or anything like that. I think we'll see some longer green flag runs like we saw at the end of the Xfinity race. But it should be fun. It should be a fun slate. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think, Coop?
I think the passing is going to be harder than you're giving it credit for. One thing you got to keep in mind is we have no idea if these cars are going to go down on the apron, like
That's
they
true.
did yesterday in the Xfinity race, which led to them being able to pass more. They're not sure how the diffuser is going to react when you get down there, and somebody's going to have to take those chances and find out what happens. So I think passing is going to be tough. It's much tougher than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be as hard as what you see at Loudon, but I think it's going to be hard to pass, and I think like you said with the cautions. It all depends upon the restarts. That's when, I think the cautions could happen because, if they get 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 laps plus going, the cars are going to be spread out. They're not going to be as close to each other. There's not as much passing as what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. So I think the cautions, will be more normal. But again, we didn't think we'd see a lot of cautions in Vegas or Auto Club in Fontana, and look what happened.
It will be interesting to see this apron. If they can't go down to that apron, that kink is going to be an issue with all those cars on the track. That's a very good point.
So I was digging into the practice times this morning, and it made me scratch my head. I was talking to Coop. If these practice times are right, that means that Kyle Larson and about 5 or 6 other guys only lost about 1/10 of a second from their lap 5 time to their lap 30 time. And that seems absurd to me because I went back and checked the last 2 weeks. Even the best 5-lap consecutive average time dropped 4/10 of a second to the best 10-lap time. So, Matty, I couldn't find last year's times at Phoenix. Is that normal, or are those times wrong?
I don't know. It could just be a result of the new car and the resin kicker. Because NASCAR has plenty of resin laid down. But I thought the same thing. So when I was looking at it yesterday, like Larson's 5-lap time was 27.647, and then he's 27.789 on a 30-lap run.
It's impossible. That can't be right.
It seems odd. I want to say the fall off's been much more than that in the past, and I don't know if it's just the new car or the tire compound they brought to Phoenix. But I did think the exact same thing when I was looking at it last night.
Coop, you really didn't have an answer for it either.
No, I don't really care much about it either. I'm not going to get stuck on it. It is what it is, man. So,
all right.
Hey, one other quick thing though, man. Like this just isn't another race for these teams. Like it might be another race for us, but for these teams, like this is a huge, huge, huge race. Because this is the race where they run the championship race on. Mm-hmm. So, they're going to be trying different things. I wouldn't be surprised if yesterday in practice we saw, I really think that Joe Gibbs Racing had different setups in every single car yesterday in practice. And I heard Colleague did it yesterday in the race. To see, but they're searching, they're trying to find anything that they can get for that championship race so that they can try to be a little bit ahead and prepare for that. So this is a huge race for these teams.
All right, so Coop and I were talking yesterday in the bets video, and we thought it was basically the normal cast of characters that are live to win this race this week, in addition to like 3 or 4 guys maybe that you wouldn't normally think of. But seems like a pretty wide open race, right? All 4 Gibbs cars are live to win this race. I think all 3 Penske cars are live. Most of the Hendrick cars, right? And then the outliers like Reddick. Coop was talking about Almirola. We know how good he is on a flat track. Depending on how good Austin Cindric really is at Phoenix, that 2 car we know is great. But what Dominator-wise, when you guys were making the playbook, what stuck out to you?
Well, one thing about Cindric is he crushed here in Xfinity. He owned this track in Xfinity. He was the man.
Yep. So I think this is a extremely wide open race, much more wide open than what we've seen the last two races. Like you just said, and like I said yesterday, I think there's anywhere from 10 to 12 drivers who could win this race. And from a DFS perspective, if you look at the top tiers, the drivers 9K or above or whatever, they're all playable. And you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. You know, some of them are playable from the Dominator aspect, some of them are playable from just being a strong finish, some of them have some place differential upside. So, you know, there's not one driver at the top of that board who, so to say, is a bad play. So you're going to have to make some tough decisions up there. And then the other piece I think is really going to help is it's really going to flatten out the ownership of the majority of the drivers. I still think Kyle Larson will be, you know, the top dog up there. But I think you're going to be getting some drivers possibly sub 10%, closer to 10, 12%. I don't think you're going to see as many at like 25 to 30%. I think, you know, 18 to 20%. So it's really going to flatten it out because, like I said, you can play all of the drivers up there. The one thing when you look at a Dominator perspective from here, you've got to start at the top. Track position is king here. We talked about passing being hard. So, you know, you want to be up near that front. Very few drivers dominate who have started outside of the top 10. You know, as far as Dominators go, you know, we've seen anywhere from 1 to 4 Dominators in this particular race. You know, this sample sizes are small. So, you know, I don't think it'll be a one Dominator race. I'm hanging on 2 or 3. 4 was kind of that outlier where it was kind of weird where they had 4 drivers lead around 65 to 80 laps, which is really weird. So I'm sticking with 2 to 3 drivers.
What about you, Maddie?
Yeah, I'm right in that same boat. I would think most of my builds today are going to be 2 Dom builds. I don't know if I go with any one. I just don't, you know, like Coop was saying, we're thinking this race is so wide open. I don't think anybody's just going to go out there and wax the field. So I'll be looking at 2 and 3 down builds. That's kind of how I'm going to build it. You know, I don't think we're going to have a ton of chalk, like Coop mentioned, maybe outside of Stenhouse, you know, starting in the back. But I mean, I'm not in love with him even as it is. Starting way back there. But yeah, I'm right in line with Coop and, you know, 2 to 3 Dominators for me.
So obviously we're all high on Eric Almirola because, you know, it's a flat track, right? But he's quietly been in the top 10 every race this year. I think he's been in the top 6 twice so far this year, right? So
yeah, he has.
He's strong. I think Ryan Blaney is really close to winning. I think today could even be his day. I mean, he's led a lap in every single race. He's been right there. If he doesn't have the problems on pit road, that one race, he clearly had the best car in the race. We thought, Coop. So I think he's knocking on the door. Now, you and I were talking about Toyota. Toyota hasn't won a race. This will be the 9th race if they don't win today. So I know ordinarily we're talking about how strong Denny Hamlin is on tracks like this, Coop, Marty, and even Kyle Busch. What do you expect from Toyota today?
I expect a lot. I mean, going into the practice today, I expected them to be really good, but I think, you know, like I said, they weren't very good, which was surprising. And then all of a sudden in the qualifying section, you know, Hamlin and Bell laid down, you know, super fast laps. So I think they're going to be better than what people think they're going to be after practice yesterday. You know, I think that Kyle Busch is a very, very, very good low-owned GPP play. He starts, I think, 11th, and, you know, he's kind of in that middle part. His salary is expensive, and I don't think people are going to be on him. And I think he could end up being up there as a Dominator and get some place differential points for you. So I really like Kyle Busch as a GPP play. I think I like Joey Logano a lot too. Obviously Hamlin, and I like Blaney the most out of him and Hamlin. But, you know, I think up top, you know, you got to make a lot of decisions when it comes to the Dominator and how you think the race is going to play out. And, you know, then you have Chris Bell, and Eric Amarola, who could spoil the party for Blaney and Hamlin. But, Bell didn't show that great long speed run like the others did. Amarola, you mentioned, if he performs statistically like he has the last 2 weeks, he's not going to run very well. I'm going to throw that to the side because he is one of the best, short, flat track drivers out there. This is what he thrives on. I'm interested to see what his ownership is going to be too, because I think he can sit around that, third to fifth position. And then if we get some super long runs, that's when he might be able to get up there and contend for.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Coop? Where do you think Amarola and Bell come in on ownership? Because I think they're both really interesting plays.
That's tough, man. I don't know, man. That's hard because they're third and fourth. They could be dead to the water if they don't get up there and get a couple of points for you. Because again, you got Reddick, who's priced right above them, who starts a little bit farther back, and he's much more the name than, let's say, a Bell or a Amarola, and he could take ownership away from them. I don't think they're going to hit 20%. I don't think they're going to hit sub 10% either. So I'm probably thinking around 13, 15, somewhere in that ballpark.
I know you hit on it in the playbook, but Christopher Bell's going to be a very, very good flat track racer.
Oh, yeah.
And I know he wasn't the fastest in practice, but that never really concerns me. We kind of saw that yesterday with Allgaier, right? They didn't unload very well. Everybody freaked out, said we shouldn't play him, and he was a monster. But I think Bell's really interesting.
On top of that, Austin Cindric's priced right around Reddick, Bell, and Amarola. And Cindric was dominant here in Xfinity. He was dominant at Loudon too. He does very well on these flat, short track 1 milers. He has a very, very good car, one that Ray Kozlowski drove here and did very well in. So he's going to take some. I think this whole slate you could see, very even ownership once you get past Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Larson.
I think that Bell was like 3-1 to be the top Toyota when I checked last night. So I dove deep. So what runs like side by side the Dominators for you guys is usually the outright market on the bet side. And looking at the outright market, I don't see really value in anybody right now. I think the books did a really good job this week of pricing everybody right. I mean, Kyle Larson's a video game, obviously. He got to the point last year where you just put a 4.5-1 ticket in your pocket every week. And if you had to get on somebody live, which we did every race when he didn't win, that's what we would do. Obviously, but we were getting Blaney at 12-1 last year. Am I looking to bet him at 6.5-1? No. Denny Hamlin has been struggling this year. Could run well today, we all think. Am I 6.5-1? No. We were getting Byron at 13-1, 12-1 last year, 8-1. Although he looked really good in practice, I don't really see it. I think once you get past there, you got a couple guys in that 10-1 range: Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott. They probably seemed about right, priced right. I would think you would agree, Coop. They're priced right, probably at 10-1. I don't really see value there.
No, I would agree.
Yeah, Truex 14-1. Oh, go ahead, Matty.
I think Logano's a threat today.
Oh, I all 3 Penske cars could win today.
Logano historically has been very, very good here, and I haven't around the industry. I've poked around, looking around. I don't see anybody talking about him. I think it's really, really interesting. I don't get it.
Him and Kyle Busch.
Very weird.
Great GPP plays. So what are you going to do with Hendrick Motorsports, specifically Byron and Larson, Matty?
So I take really, really hard stands. I'm similar to you. Like I make my mind up, and then you ain't talking me out of it. So I don't think I'm going to play Larson today. I'm just going to take a stand there, only due to the fact that I think this race is so open. Willie, I have some interest in. He showed some 5 and 10 lap speed. You even look at the 25 lap speed, he was, third overall. I don't know that I can fade him. His starting spot is obviously the kicker, right? So he needs to get up there. He's going to have to lead some laps starting third. My problem with Willie is I prefer Blaney and I prefer Logano, and I like those guys more. Kyle Busch, I like those guys more. So, depending on how many builds I run out, am I going to get to Byron? I'm just not sure. Do I like him? Yeah, absolutely. I like him, but I'm just not sure I get there. It'll be interesting to see how my build structure works out once we get off the show and I start going down that road.
So I'm along the same thoughts as you. I have Byron as a fade, and then I'm not going to play Larson, although I'm coming more on to Byron. But my thoughts on Larson is I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you starting in the back, no big deal. We've seen him go from the back to the front. Look at what Justin Allgaier did yesterday. He went from the back to the front. But he went from the back to the front last year in the championship race, and dominated. But I think a couple of things are different. First off, that championship race, only 4 drivers gave a shit. Those other drivers weren't going to compete against him. They weren't going to, stop him from getting up there quickly. All right. Today, they give a shit. All right. And it's not going to be as easy for him to pass them. It's also not going to be as easy for him to get up as fast as what Allgaier did yesterday, because there's a lot more competition, in the mid to back in the Cup Series than what there is the Xfinity Series. So, am I saying he's not going to get up there? No, he'll get up there. It's going to take him a long time. I think.
Yeah, there's not 15 scrub cars,
right,
like there is in Xfinity.
I think that, if we see long green flag runs, it's going to be a hindrance to him, because he's not going to be able to, get restarts to be able to, get some passing opportunities. Not going to use pit lane, to pass as much. And then, the real kicker for me, all right, is this isn't Kyle Larson of last year so far. All right. Yes, he's finished first and second in the last 2 races. All right. But he's been doing it different ways. All right. Which is scary. And was what I told you yesterday, Jay, is scary.
It's terrible.
Because how he's been doing it is more of a veteran, smart type of driver, and playing the situations right, versus his car being dominant like it was last year.
Right.
I mean, his green run flag this year is like 5th, 6th in his last 2 races. You're
right. If he gets to the point where he's going to win all the races, he has the best car, which is a lot at Hendrick, and come out of nowhere in the final 10 laps when we're not even talking about him to win races, then he's going to be like a video game. You're right, 100%.
Right. But the kicker to me is his price means he has to have Dominator points. And it's going to be hard for him to get them Dominator points, in my opinion. So, because there's so many very good drivers. I mean, when he gets to that top 10, he's just not going to fly past Eric Almirola. He's not going to fly past Austin Cindric, not to mention there's Logano up there, Busch, potentially Reddick, and then obviously Hamlin, Blaney, Bell. I mean, it's not easy for him today. So, I mean, it's just like a basketball slate. If you have ABC, Embiid, and Jokic all at the top, all right, you can't play them all. You got to make a decision, and you're going to play the one that you feel sets up best for you, and I don't think it sets up best for Kyle Larson today.
All right. So if you guys are just joining us, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to the channel. Give out free content here every day. The boys absolutely crush it on the DFS side. So, all right. The next stage that you guys usually look at are like your place differential or middle tier drivers, right? Talk to me about that.
Stick with the middle tier. Let's go to the middle tier first.
Okay. Go ahead,
Matty. I think you were going to say something.
Yeah. Well, he was going into the place differential. I mean, we can hit on that, Coop, because it's small. I mean, it's Stenhouse. Stenhouse is starting in the back. He's going to be chalky. I think he makes sense in cash. He can get you there in GPPs. I'm not saying he can't. But, flat tracks historically haven't been his bread and butter. Allmendinger, I actually like you. I was reading your breakdown in the playbook, Coop. I think Allmendinger is a sharp play off of Stenhouse. As I mentioned last year, I know that what we're talking apples to oranges here, between the Xfinity car and the new Cup car. But I love guys who get track time, the day before. I just, especially these veteran drivers, I feel like they just gather so much information. They know where the grip is. And
Maddie,
you lose me?
No, you're still there.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Allmendinger, I think, is a sharp play off of Stenhouse, and I think he could. This isn't a track where that car, can't have success. I could see Allmendinger bringing that thing home, 19th, 18th, even maybe a little bit higher, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Right, like I think both of them, are plays that they're very good cash plays, but in GPP, I'm going to have some, but they've got to get up there to really place, and especially Allmendinger, because Allmendinger is $200 cheaper on DK, and he's starting, I think, 7 positions behind. So it's going to take a lot for AJ to outscore Ricky if either one of them don't have issues. Put it that way.
That's no guarantee with Ricky Stenhouse.
Right. So AJ is a good pivot off of him, but he's tough. He's got a lot of things up against him. So I think there's also in a world where neither one of them end up in winning GPP lineups. Let's say they both finish 20th. I don't think that's going to get you where you need to be, because there's some drivers below that could save more money, and that means obviously some other drivers like we didn't talk about, like Elliott, Truex, and Harvick, like them. How are you going to handle them?
Yeah, what are you doing with Truex?
I'm going to play Truex, most definitely. He was by far the most disappointing driver yesterday for me from practice. He was very, very strong last week, which he hasn't been recently, a mile and a half. And then, he comes to a track that obviously he won at recently.
Yeah.
And he's good at flat tracks in general. And, he laid a stinker in practice.
Yeah,
so,
that's why I was asking, because he's kind of priced in that kind of upper price range. And his history here is very good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have some. That's why I'm more leaning towards like JGR had some different setups in their cars yesterday, trying different things. Because his numbers were not very good whatsoever, whether it's short run speed or long run speed. Mm-hmm. So I'll definitely have some.
From a betting perspective, Coop and I were talking about Martin Truex. I have to watch him win a race before I can get on him, and unless I have no choice but to get on him live, is how I'm basically approaching Mark Truex Jr.
It's been interesting to watch the first couple of weeks, because all of a sudden he'll show up and you'll see him, and then all of a sudden he just disappears again. He seems to be like a light switch. He's just either on or off.
We hit this. He won this race last year, because we hit the race group at 7-1, and we had the top 3 at plus 150. I checked the sheet last night. So he won here last year, but he's been really quiet, man. I don't know. I have to see him prove it to me. Any other drivers you guys want to talk in the mid tier?
So, I think that, let me say this name, but Kevin Harvick is very, very much in play today.
Here we go. Maddie, does he bury Kevin Harvick on the show every week? Like, he threw dirt on his grave last year. Like,
seriously, he's buried Harvick like 50 times now, and now he's got him on the top of the mid tier.
Yeah, and then yesterday on the show, he's like, Kevin Harvick's live today. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah. I mean, come on, Coop.
Yeah, but so I think Truex and Elliott are going to be the pivots off of Harvick, because Harvick's the cheaper of the 3. All right. We were talking about yesterday, he's not set up for short runs. All right. But his long run speed is very, very, very good. You know, as you've said, you know, I've bashed him, and rightfully so. You know, he hasn't done diddly squat other than backdoor top tens, you know, the past year and then into so far this year. I don't think he's a contender to win this race, but I think he's live for a top five. I think, you know, like I said, he's going to be the most popular of those three because of his price, and, you know, you cannot discount his history. So, you know, he's very much in play today. But, you know, I think Chase, you know, who struggled yesterday in practice and his qualifying run, he had issued not hitting the right spots, is very good here too. And I think he's going to go underlooked. Like, I think if you can pull it off somehow, like, I love a Blaney, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott threesome. Because I don't think Kyle Busch is going to get the ownership because, you know, he's right below Larson and people are still going to play him. And then Elliott's going to lose ownership to Harvick and Truex.
All right. So looking at the mid-tier driver outrights, Martin Truex Jr. 14-1, which historically is a good price on him, but I can't bet him yet. He has to show me something. Can't bet Harvick, even though he's 18-1. He has to show us something. Bell's 18-1. That feels right to me. Austin Cindric is 20-1. And while he is really good at Phoenix, and that 2 car is consistently one of the best cars on the track every week, I don't think he's at the point as a rookie where he should be 20-1. I think that number's still off. I'm thinking more like 30-1. Tyler Reddick at 25-1, I think is fair. Almirola at 20-1 probably has a little value. He should probably be lower. So, I mean, I don't mind a small play on that. Or Tyler Reddick. I think that's about right, as long as, you know, the fight with his seat is over and his legs don't go numb.
I can't feel my legs.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the mid-tier outrights?
Hey, so real quick, Maddie, what are your thoughts on Chase Elliott today?
I like Chase a lot. So you mentioned a build with Blaney, Chase, and Kyle Busch, and I've been tinkering with Logano, Blaney, and Chase Elliott. So right. Yeah, I think Chase is definitely interesting. You know, we saw him, what was that, 2 years ago, where he started in the rear and he drove through the field and whooped everyone's ass.
I think that was a championship race too, though.
Yeah, I think
they just let him drive by.
100%.
Like they did Larson last year.
But I think he's just going overlooked because I think everybody's looking at the guys, you know, Larson, Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, you know, everybody's staring at those guys, and it might be one of the weird weeks where Chase just goes overlooked.
Right. And then Reddick, what do you think about Reddick? Like, I think Reddick can drive into the top 10. He improved last year on his short tracks that were flat as the year progressed. I don't know if he has a top 5 and Dominator potential, but then you can't count out what that car has done.
No, I agree. Reddick's a hell of a driver. It's a weird price point, right? He's like starting 12. It's $8,500. He's an interesting play, that's for sure. He kind of falls. I think I actually might like him a little bit more than Bell, just because I feel like he's a little bit safer. Because, you know, Bell's going to have to get up there and lead you some laps, you know, from 4th, as to where if Reddick drives you to 5th, that might be enough. I mean, depending on how the race goes.
But while we're right around there, like, what are your thoughts on Kurt Busch and Brett Keselowski? Because they're priced right around Reddick, you know.
I know.
And, you know, I mean, I like Kurt Busch more than Keselowski. I mean, my thoughts, I just don't trust the car.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either.
How can you trust it? I don't either. But
I'll be playing Kurt over Keselowski.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, Ross Chastain is in there too. I think he's priced up around 8-1 with all them guys starting 17th. So, like, you know, I keep hitting on it, but I keep thinking we give valid points to where ownership is this might be one of the most spread out ownership slates that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think Draftkings specifically did an excellent job of pricing this week. They did a really
because
good
you
job.
can go so many different ways. Like I'm not big on Chastain. You know, I think he's going to get some steam from what happened last week. His practices weren't bad either, but he's just not a flat track racer right now in his career. Maybe, you know, he could, you know, get better all of a sudden, you know, and mature. But I don't know. I think Kurt Busch is going to be a heck of a GPP play too, because his price, I think, is going to keep people really off of him. I think it's 8.9K.
Yep. Yeah, it's just because of where he's falling in with people, right? You got Harvick right above him. Truex is a few hundred more. You got Byron up there who could definitely lead laps. Last week's winner, Bowman, who did, you know, he's not really tripping my trigger this week, but I'm sure, you know, but how people are, right? They remember what they saw last. You know, they saw Bowman winning, so people are going to consider him. You may be right. He may just go completely overlooked.
I mean, maybe you go Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch combo, and you know, get a nice little low on.
You could. You definitely could.
So,
all right.
There's so many different ways you can go.
We have a new promo code for Run Pure Sports Players 33. Get you 33% off your first payment with a subscription to Run Pure Sports. The Saber Sim package is included in the offer. Also, on the bet side, you could use promo code BETS25 off. It'll get you 25% off the first week or month on the bet side. Pretty good deal. It's cheap. All right, so let's talk about the lower tier cars, or value town, you guys call it. Talk to me, Coop.
This is an area where nobody really stands out above the other driver. And then also it's an area I want to be cautious in this week because, you know, we've talked about passing being tough. So we're not going to see the place differential gains that we've seen the last couple of weeks where drivers come from the mid to late 20s and finish in the teens or top 10s. So, you know, I just want to play these guys all, you know, kind of evenly and right at field average to maybe a little bit above for the ones that I might be willing to take more chances on. And then pair them with different cores of 2 to 3 to 4 drivers, you know, above in different ranges. I think Cole Custer's probably the one that sticks out the most to everybody. You know, he's done very well at Loudon. He's had one good finish here in, you know, Cup. You know, the car's been pretty good this year. So I think Custer will probably be the most expensive, but I mean, most popular. But after that, you know, I think you're really going to see it spread out again. Like Buescher, you know, great starting position, not the best on flat tracks. The car worries me again, like I said with Keselowski. I don't think it's a guarantee that he gets into the top 20. I think I put in the playbook his finishes here in the last 6 races are all 16th to 25th position. So, you know, you're probably going to get some, but, you know, how much you're going to get, I don't know, as far as place differential goes from him. But, you know, the 2 guys that I like the most down here is Ty Dillon, who's been really strong on flat tracks, and his starting position should keep people away from him. His price allows you to do things too. And then right next to him is Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton showed really good speed yesterday in practice, especially long run speed. And, you know, when you look at his speed compared to the drivers that were priced around him and or in this, you know, his, you know, peer group, whatever you want to call it, he was the best by far. So I like him quite a bit. And then, you know, if you think maybe there's some risks and wrecks and things of that nature, maybe take a couple shots on David Gilliland. The guy hasn't shown much speed whatsoever, minus Daytona, but this is his roots. This is where he grew up. He's very good on these.
Todd Gilliland.
You playing the old man, Coop? Is he filling in for Todd today?
Todd Gilliland, whatever. Sorry, my bad. Good catch there.
Yeah.
So I was just checking to see if you were awake, Jay.
Come on.
And you showed me you were. But anyways, you know, this is his roots. He raced a lot on flat tracks out west. Growing up, he did well on these in the trucks. So, you know, I think, you know, if we see the right circumstances, he could come and play, and his salary allows you to play basically whoever you want to. I probably won't have more than 10% of them because he'll probably only be 5% owned, which will give me an edge on the field. But, you know, the other thing to be cautious of back here is, and especially when you come into Gilliland, is we see these long green run flag, whatever, runs. You know, we're going to see drivers go laps down. All right. And it's not going to be easy to get your lap back because we're not going to see many cautions. All right. If you go a lap down, it's hard to gain positions. All right. So that's another, you know, caution to plague some of these drivers back in the back. So, and that's kind of why I like Ty and Harrison a little bit more, because they're a little farther up and it's going to be a little harder for them, possibly, hopefully, to lose that lap. But you really want your drivers to stay on the lead lap here.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I love Harrison Burton today. You know, you know, it's obviously Wood Brothers car. They have the Penske Alliance. Penske's been very, very strong here. He was actually very good here in Xfinity as well. He's raced here in Xfinity 4 times and finished top 6 each time with a second place. I think he's a great play. I like Cole Custer. Obviously, he makes a lot of sense. Ty Dillon, you know, Coop. I think Coop is the president of the Ty Dillon fan club. And then I'm going to take a few shots at Daniel Suarez today too. It's no specific reason. He's just one of those guys who, at his price, you know, could sneak you out a 15th, 14th, and be the weird one in a group, because I think he probably just goes completely untouched.
Hey, kind of off subject, but you brought Daniel Suarez up, which made me think about this. Like, how much farther ahead is NASCAR than all these other sports with being able to bring their drivers into the booth and being able to announce, you know, cup races,
it's genius.
Other races, you know, like how much more knowledge do these guys provide, you know, than what, you know, a regular basic plain Jane announcer brings. Like NASCAR is so much farther ahead, you know, than these other sports of being able to do this. And I mean, you know, these guys are all really good, you know, and
I agree.
Good in different ways.
You know me, there's nobody I'd like to punch in the face more than Joey Logano, but I actually enjoy listening to, like, when him and Blaney are in the booth together. Mm-hmm. They're very, very interesting to listen to.
Yep. I'll tell you what, Matty, when we're doing the live show and Coop and I have a driver like in front, but Joey Logano's right behind him, it makes me want to throw up in my stomach, because you just know what's coming.
The thing I hate, there's 2 guys I can't stand, and my hate for them does not, you know, fade into my DFS, because I'll play them. Like today, I'm playing Logano, but Hamlin and Joey, I can't stand, for the simple fact that if they dump somebody, it's perfectly okay. And the second they get touched, they're the first to cry. I can't stand that. If you want to go out there and move people out of the way, be willing to accept it on the other side.
All right. So real quick, before we move on to the key fades, Steve asks, what will Harrison's ownership be and what is his flat track history?
Well,
I think Matty hit on his flat track history a little bit.
Yeah,
in Xfinity. So
yeah, he had 4 races in Xfinity, 3 of them with top 6 finishes. He had a 3rd and a 2nd, all at Joe Gibbs Racing.
And I mean, the other piece too is the equipment that he's driving in that car is just as good, if not better, than, you know, the peer cars of his group down there. So, you know I've been on Burton a little bit here recently, and he hasn't done much, but, you know, it's got to come around.
All right. I see one guy on Coop's key fade list that hurts my heart a little bit, but I'm going to let it go. You didn't have to put him number 1, but all right. Key fade drivers, talk to me today, Coop.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, you're going to have to make stands up top, and my stand is, you know, Larson and Byron, you know, although I, you know, am coming on a little bit more to Byron than what I was prior. But those are the key ones for me. Austin Dillon, Eric Jones. I don't know. I mean, Austin Dillon's really not the greatest on flat tracks. Flip a coin. I mean, he could be better than Kurt Busch today, but you just got to make stands some way, somehow. I couldn't blame you for playing Austin Dillon over a Kurt Busch or, a Chastain or whatever. Same with Jones. So, it's a slate that you've got to make decisions on because, there's not a lot of like great plays. There's not a lot of really bad plays, but there's a heck of a lot of plays right in the middle that could go either way.
Yeah, I think you just need to, like your analogy with basketball, right? You got, Joker and all those guys up top. I think you just have to make a stand today and have some conviction because this slate you could spend hours looking at. So my strategy is to, I'm going to make some hard stands. Like I've decided I'm not going to play Larson. I do have some interest in Byron, but will I get there with my build structure? I'm just not sure. But that would be what I would tell people is you're going to have to make some hard stands today. Don't play in the mud all day long because you're going to find yourself literally just building all day long, and that's what you'll end up doing. You're gonna galaxy brain yourself. So that's what I would do. I'm going to take some hard stands and go from there.
All right.
I mean, I feel pretty confident with McDowell not doing well and Haley and Bubba Wallace in the lower tier.
Yeah, Bubba he's not very good at the flat tracks. I mean, he hasn't shown me anything that he's going to be, that he's going to be strong here. And he didn't look too strong in practice either, if I recall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so us looking back on the bet side, looking at the driver matchups, I think I thought Draftkings did a really good job today. I think there isn't much value out there at all. But like Almirola yesterday, Coop and I were talking, in a heads-up matchup against Alex Bowman, he was like minus 112. I don't really think that's a coin flip price, basically. And I don't think that's a coin flip matchup. I think Almirola is going to be better than Bowman today. So I don't really mind that matchup. Were there any matchups that stuck out to either of you that you liked on DK?
That was the only one. I think, as you said earlier, the books have been pretty good this week. I have the one group bet that I like that I put out there, and I've gained some positive EV on it or whatever you want to call it, which means nothing, in the long run because it doesn't pay it out, but it's nice to see it. And then I think the other value, which we missed out on possibly, was Austin Cindric to win because, the books prior to practice yesterday and qualifying, had him anywhere from plus 4,000 to plus 5,000. That's basically been cut in half everywhere. But everything else that I saw was pretty good. And, like I said, if you go into the majority of these groups, like it's a toss-up between the four drivers. So, I only have one pre-race bet out there and, I'm happy with that so far this week. And I think,
go ahead.
And I said, I think from, a live betting perspective, I think, patience is going to be the key today. We don't want to overreact too quick to somebody.
Yeah, we've been doing really well with groups over the last probably couple years with scraping, taking 2 out of the 4 and being in good shape. But I think with the exception of the one that you found, which was a great look, who was that over again? Jones?
I took Austin Cindric over Eric Jones, Ross Chastain, and Austin Dillon.
Yeah, so on DK, that group D is Cindric at 2-1, Briscoe, Kurt Busch, and Chastain.
Yeah, this is on MGM.
Yeah, okay.
MGM.
Yeah, so that's probably the only group that you can even take a sniff at because looking at these, everybody's is live, I think, to win these groups. Really.
All right. And I mean, Chastain was, much better in practice yesterday than what I thought. He's going to be more of a threat to Cindric than what I initially thought. But, I like the fact that he was plus 260 and now he's plus 200. And I just like the fact of what he's done there and plus the car. I think I really like Austin Cindric today.
All right. So looking at the manufacturers, I think that Larson's even money to be the top Chevy. I guess that those odds are right considering what he does every week. Byron is 3-1. Elliott's 4-1. Reddick 12-1. Anybody stick out to you guys? Top Chevy?
I mean, I'm probably gonna fall on I would say Chase. I like Chase the most of the bunch, but I can't sleep on Byron. His speeds in practice were strong. So I mean, I think Kyle Busch at 3-1 to be the top Toyota is interesting.
I mean, I told you at the beginning of the year, like Chevy, I'm staying away from that from a top manufacturer who would be the best one in there because it's so deep, so many options. I'm staying away from that. I really don't care for any one of them because like Amarola and the Ford part, they took out the value. I think he's what 600 maybe.
Yes.
Maybe if he was 1,200, I would take my chances. Same as Cindric, they took the value out of. So I'm not going to be looking anywhere from there. And then, in Toyota, the value is a Bell. And in reality, all four of them could win top Toyota. So that's tough. But the one thing that's kind of intrigued me, though, is I told you yesterday in the show that one bet I was thinking about prior to the show was Toyota to win the race. And it was at plus 190.
I got to tell you, if I was going to bet that, I would probably take Toyota and Ford and fade Chevy because you're getting almost 2-1 on both. And
right.
I think that you probably pick up a unit there as long as Hendrick doesn't roast you.
Right.
That's how I would approach it. But, yeah, I don't mind that look.
Yeah, because what I was going to say was the number on Toyota dropped from plus 190. You can get it at plus 250 on MGM now. And those four drivers, any one of those four Toyota drivers, could win. The other good thing about this race is the last 6 races, there's been 6 different winners.
What's the Ford prop? What are they at, Coop?
You can get like Toyota 250, Ford 225. I don't think that's a bad bet to just fade Chevy. I think that would be the scrape this week.
I think a Ford's going to win the race today myself. I think it's either going to be Blaney or Logano are going to win today.
Yeah, I think it's Blaney season, man. He's due.
Because, I mean, basically you're betting Larson. You're betting the field, basically, against Larson and Byron.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the scrape today. Yep. All right, boys. Anything else? Oh, before we go, if you guys like and are a fan of live betting, last week, Coop and I on the Sunday show, we had a car at 28-1 with 3 laps to go. If we would have hit it, if he wins, we still hit it anyway because Coop hit us with Bowman at 2-1.
20-1, not 2, man.
I'm sorry, 20-1. 20-1. And since last Saturday, the show's up 40 units. Last night we hit like a couple 4-1s. We made 13 units last night alone. So if you enjoy live betting and you have the time to like really sit down and live bet, I would check it out. It's the Keg Live package. It's like $10 a week. So I think
I say this every time, man. But like, if you want to grow your bankroll when it comes to betting, bet NASCAR Live because the numbers are great, and it's the quickest way to grow that bankroll.
Yeah, we
agree. You guys have been great.
31 out of 37 races last year, Matty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You guys are the best. Even when I can't hop on the show, I'll still have it on my phone when I'm out in the garage or pop you guys up on the TV. Always listen to you guys, what you guys do. You guys are very entertaining. Tons of money to be won. If you're not watching it, you're just doing yourself a disservice. I don't understand.
Hey, Matty, have you ever heard of Ethel Chocolate?
What?
Ethel Chocolate was somebody's sponsor last week. Who was it?
Kyle Busch.
Right, Kyle. Right. All right. So one more time.
Any more questions out there?
Oh yeah, let me check the questions. Yeah, we might get an appearance from Maddie today. Mikey, Maddie, did you see Mikey take Bowman? He hops on Bowman with us and then cashes his bet out. And then
wow. What a surprise. I can't believe he would sip out.
Mikey is the worst.
Literally, I can't. Jeez, the kid's like clockwork, man. I know what he's doing before he knows what he's doing.
So yeah, Mikey might show up. We have a fun time over there. So it's definitely worth it because we crush. Any questions? Are Logano, Truex, Elliott builds more popular than they should be this week?
I don't know if you can play all three of them together. If you do, you're really looking for Blaney, Hamlin, those drivers starting at the front to struggle some way, somehow, and Logano to be the one who dominates. So I don't know if playing all three of them together is the best way to go.
All right. I don't really see any other. Can you explain the sequential shift gearbox and what Denny Hamlin did? I can't. I'm not a mechanic. So
what did Denny do? I guess I didn't see what Denny did.
I can't do that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't know. All right, but one more time before we go, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Run Pure Bets channel. And once again, use promo code PLAYERS33. It gets you 33% off your first payment with a subscription to Run Pure Sports, and SaberSim package is included in the offer. So don't forget. All right, this has been a fun show, boys.
Real quick before we go, who's winning today, Jay?
I hate to take the guy on the poll, but I really do think that Ryan Blaney is due. I'm going to say my pre.
Oh, boys, we have competition caution lap 25 today.
Oh, that changes. Oh, stage 1 betting before we go. Actually, no, that's all right. We're done. Don't worry about it.
So who did you say?
So I think Blaney, but lap 25, there's going to be a caution. Stage 1 is 60 laps now. So keep that in mind for your stage 1 bets. There will be a caution at lap 25. All right, we're out of here.
Who do you think's going to win, man? Blaney?
I'm gonna pick Blaney. I'm not gonna bet him until I have to, but I'm gonna pick Blaney pre-race.
Maddie?
I'm picking, since he's got Blaney, and I'm on Blaney, but I'm gonna pick that douchebag Joey Logano.
Let's go. Penske season.
And I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch.
Kyle
Busch. I like it.
Oh, this is the sign going up today, Coop?
No, the sign stays down because he only does well when it's down. Sorry, Diego.
All right, unbelievable. Sorry. He wants to play Kyle Busch. He wants to play Kevin Harvick. Who the hell is Coop?
All right. It's been fun. We'll be back next Sunday morning. Simon, get us out of here.
What's happening, guys? I'm here to tell you about a great new premium offering we have from our bets guy, Keg. He has been crushing it so much with his live betting streams that we decided to spin off his KegCast into a premium feature. Last weekend, the KegCast live betting show package crushed. Keg practically ran the table on Saturday's UFC card, and the boys came right back on Sunday with NASCAR winners from both Keg and Coop. But it was Coop getting the first 20-1 winner of the year for the live show. With 10 laps to go, the boys had the top 4 cars in the race, with all of them having odds of 11-1 or better. It doesn't get any better than that. Subscribe today for just $10 a week and gain access to all of Keg's live betting streams covering tons of sports, including the NFL playoffs, MMA betting every week, PGA, March Madness, the NBA, and NASCAR. Last season, Keg and the crew crushed in NASCAR with cashes in over 30 races for well over 130 units of live profit.
Come on, Bowman, baby! Let's go!
Let's go!
Learn how to live bet and tail Keg and his crew with this amazing subscription offering. Also included is access into an exclusive Discord channel reserved for Keg's subscribers. Last reminder that it's only $10 a week, so get on board today with Keg and keep running pure.